proximity of power, and we lose our joy, we lose our way, we lose our purpose. While I was in the proximity of power, I lived right around the corner here 35 years ago, raised my kids at this park, and at that time I was working at Hughes Aircraft. It was not where I was supposed to be. Some of you have jobs right now, you're like, this is not it.
Yeah.
I'm not putting no flowers, no pictures, no nothing on this, because I'm just passing through. And I knew I was passing through. But as I began to develop and open up and begin to hear the whispers of the ancestors and the whispers of people that I was getting close to that were empowering people that did not look like me. They were not female and they were not African American, but they were making great impact. And I said, that's it. Right in this city was my first seminar in the kitchen in Cerritos on Carmenita. I had balloons, I had a podium, I charged, I had a program. I had about 10 people. That was the springboard, and to fast forward, as I began to walk in authority and joy and purpose, I decided that I wanted my passion and my purpose to become a profession. I wanted to get paid. Come on, somebody.
Yeah, that's right.
Because too many of us have a passion, but we don't know how to transmute that into dollars. And so 30 years ago, I was bringing home certificates and plaques and flowers, and my husband said, we cannot pay for a company with some roses. We cannot pay the house note with a plaque. And so it kind of kicked me into a momentum of saying, I need to act like a business person.
There you go.
And I became an entrepreneur. I got professional photos, I got business cards. I began to brand myself before that was even a part of the mainstream conversation. I said, I need to brand myself. What do I want to be known for? And I experimented. Some of you know exactly what you want to do and how you want to do it. I didn't know quite exactly. I knew the arena, but I was willing to try different things. First, I started off with youth, like, no, that ain't it. And then I did co-ed, no, that's not it, because I began to realize that the gift that resides in me is to empower women without apology. Because I realized that we do not have grandmothers and great-grandmothers that walked away from jobs. We do not have great-grandmothers that talked about purpose. They were trying to make a living and survive. So I realized we didn't have shoulders to stand on and say, Mama, how you do this? And so I realized that I shifted from being motivational to being what I call an emotional wellness educator. Because I don't care how many degrees you have, if you got red bottom shoes, if you driving your Mercedes with a diamond in the back and a sunroof top, and I don't care what zip code you're in, if you are depressed,
thank you.
If you are stuck because of what mama did or daddy didn't do, if you are stuck because nobody put a ring on it, if you're stuck because you didn't get the promotion, it doesn't matter how many of these you go to. Because you go right back to your mess and right back to your stress. And so I began to subtly accept the fact that for especially women of color, we need emotional wellness. We never had PTSD therapy. We've been traumatized as a people. We've been traumatized as women. We've been raped. We've been laid off, we've been betrayed, we've been denied, we've been hurt, we've been wounded, we've been divorced, we've been single parents, we have family members with AIDS, we're caregiving for family members, we're raising our grandchildren. Come on, somebody.
Doing a lot,
we are in a new form of slavery called debt, and we don't know how to do plastic surgery and cut them up.
That's right.
We haven't been trained about credit reports. We haven't been, when we had our home here in Cerritos 30 years ago, my God, the houses were running around maybe $45,000, $50,000. First home we bought was in Linwood for $30,000. But nobody in my life and in my circle educated my husband and I on the importance of real estate. We sold property for instant cash because we became victim of instant gratification. And I realized that we as a people wear success on our back in our closets. I am 66 now, so my values have changed from when I was some of your ages. My values have changed, my priorities have changed. And I've come to understand that joy and pain are twins, just like mercy and grace, just like life, just like up and down. So I learned to live with pain. I've learned to not run from it. I've learned to not deny it. I've learned to stand in my power. I've learned about resiliency. And those are the type of books that I've written. So I was on the frontier with some of the African American women that were writing books. I wrote books 25 years ago. I traveled for 12 years with Iyanla Van Zant and Susan Taylor and Shirley Caesar and Maya Angelou and my God, Janetta Cole, Gladys Knight, Alice Walker, Felicia Rashad, Queen Latifah. For 12 years, we crisscrossed the country empowering women. And I realized that how important it is for us as a people to come together and get educated and get empowered and be connected and to recycle our dollars.
Amen. Amen. That part.
We're not doing it enough.
Right.
We will go buy tickets and hair from people that don't look like us. Come on, somebody.
Come on.
And we'll get our nails done and we'll get things done. And we won't ask, is there somebody you know that's a car mechanic? Do you know somebody that is in real estate? Do you know somebody that's an accountant? Do you know somebody that's a dentist? Will you get in your car and drive a distance just to put your green in somebody's black hands? So I learned a lot over the 30 years about networking, and so I applaud you because you're continuing this consciousness of the importance of us surviving.
Amen. That's it.
And not only surviving, but thriving. And not only surviving and thriving, but creating a legacy.
Yes, yes.
Because that's what other cultures are.
That's right. That's right.
They are not, they're into delayed gratification. They will wear jeans every day so they can take the entire family on vacation.
That's
Come
it.
on.
That's right.
They will, we rented a house out here from some East Indian people who the whole house was full of different generations. And they said as each one saves up money to get a house, they move out. There was no furniture in the house. What do I do when I get a house? I got to have pictures and statues and matching this and shutters. And so we have a lot of detoxing to do when it comes to our financial mindset.
That's what
We have a lot of detoxing to do when it comes to our health. So as an entrepreneur, I have an umbrella of services that I offer. And I've been married for 47 years, and when I decided to step out on faith to be an entrepreneur and quit a full-time job with benefits, my husband looked at me like I had lost my ever-loving mind. But what happened is that as I began to do more and more of it and bring home paychecks, as I began to travel, I opened up the garage one day and there was a big banner in the garage and it said tailor-made limousine service. Magazines started coming to my home about limo service. I'm like, what's going on? So proximity of power. He couldn't say to me that he was listening to my tapes at the time, but it was rubbing off. So we are both entrepreneurs.
That's great.
And able to employ both of our sons. Now, when it comes to pain, what I want some of you to understand is that pain is the greatest teacher.
Yes, it is.
It's the greatest teacher. Not success, but the suffering, the setbacks, and the pain come to bring a lesson. So, in my climb of being an entrepreneur without any mentoring or something like this, I made a lot of mistakes. Lost a lot of money, lost a lot of opportunities. Because As I was empowering people, I needed to be empowered. As I was helping others to find their voice, way before we called them life coaches, I was doing it. As I was writing my books, I was writing them from my journal. So there may be somebody here today that says, I want to be an author. Well, the landscape of being an author has totally changed from when I started like 25 years ago. It's much more saturated, much more competitive, and as musicians will tell you, it's good and easy to do the music, but the marketing piece is the hardest part.
Amen.
Selling the book, selling your script, selling your product, selling your property, selling your idea. And what I find is that there's a distinction between right brain people and left brain people. Right brain people have a lot of creativity, but they don't know how to market. The left brain people are analytical and they know how to market, but they're not that creative. So in 30 years, I've been blessed to speak in 35 of the United States, speak in London, Jamaica, Cancun, Turks and Caicos, Bahamas, Brazil, and next month in South Africa. And it's been a wonderful journey of joy and pain. No check, late check. Joy, can you sell some books? If you sell some books, we can have some lunch. Joy and pain. Because when you're sold out for your dream, you better be ready for the sacrifice.
Okay.
You better know how to put the money back into the business.
That's right. That's right.
Because for a long time, we weren't buying nothing new. My car out there is 10 years old because it feels good not to have a car.
That's right.
Because
That's
when
what I'm
you are
talking
an
about.
entrepreneur, you have to be ready for different seasons.
That's right.
Droughts will come, sickness will come, recession will come.
Yes, it will.
And so the discipline of a business person is something that we must learn to master. You must be in the proximity of gentlemen like this, of a sister like this. You must be rubbing shoulders, sharing business cards, asking questions, reading the books. As an African American author, when I go to bookstores, I travel all across the country speaking to a lot of bookstores. Many of them are gone because of Amazon. But when I would go to the bookstores and I would say, well, what kind of books do people buy? What kind of books are our black people buying? They're buying books about escape and romance. We're not buying books about money. We're not buying books on self-development. People buy my books once they're in trouble. I'm here to tell you, why not invest in yourself so that when the storm comes, you have something in your personal library that will nurture you and empower you.
That's right. That's right. Taylor. Awesome. Awesome.
I want to know your quiet time, because I know with me, God is dealing with me, and I'm where now that